In trigonometry, sometimes we have to prove an identity or solve a trigonometric equation. And some of the basics of algebra that are used most often, I'm going to list here. The first thing I want to talk about is adding and subtracting fractions. I want to show a quick way to add or subtract fractions. So say if you have to add a over b plus c over d, then the answer is cross multiply, you get AD plus BC over BD. So that's how you get your fraction. You cross multiply AD plus BC to get the numerator, and you multiply the denominators to get the denominator. Now that's what we have done for plus. And even if it is subtraction, A over B minus C over D, I could do the same. AD, now this time it will be minus BC. So AD minus BC over BD. Now you could take common denominator, but I think this is much faster. So let's write this in words. So I'll say to add or subtract fractions, cross multiply to get the numerator. To get the numerator and multiply the denominators to get the denominator. The denominators to get the denominator. All right, so this is the first thing I wanted to mention. Now, next I want to talk about the difference of squares formula. If you have a product of binomials that have this form, a minus b, a plus b. So there is a minus in one factor, plus in the other factor, and the terms the terms on either side of the sign are the same. This is equal to a square minus b square. So you can use the FOIL method and then simplify to get it. But if you remember it, then you'll save a lot of time. Not only going in this direction, but going in the reverse direction is also useful a lot of times. If you see a difference of squares, then you know that you can factor it into product of two binomials. So this is called the difference of squares formula. Difference of squares formula. Now, the third thing I want to mention is to multiply or square a binomial. So squaring a binomial is another important thing. So if I have to square a plus b, now first thing is it's not going to be a square plus b square. You would have to write this as a plus b times a plus b and FOIL it. But better still, if you remember the formula, then things will be faster, and also you won't make the mistake of just distributing the square and saying this is a square plus b square. So if you have a plus b quantity square, then you have three terms. The first term is the square of the first, and then there's a middle term which is twice the product of a and b, and then the last term is the square of the last term. So b square. Now if you have a minus b quantity square, it looks almost the same except the middle term has a negative coefficient. So this is going to be a square minus 2ab plus b square. Again, you can get these by writing this as a minus b times a minus b and multiplying it out and simplifying. But you don't have to do that each time if you remember these formulas.